Hey guys, it's Liam here from Primal Nomad. If you want to see how I lit this fire today with just my left arm, then make sure you stay tuned. Just a quick little episode, but sure to be one that might save you one time.
I wanted to get out after my accident to try and make the most of my broken shoulder and shift the cooped up and debilitating feeling that all recoveries can end up creating. This was a good time to remind myself that outdoor skills, such as firelighting, shouldn't always be taken for granted, and that simple or complex injuries can totally change the method you have to use and may rely on. Birch bark, even at this time of year, is ready to find if you know where to look. Fallen branches that, although the wood is decaying, the peeling and curling bark filled with oil holds fast, ready to be pulled off. And is the same for the standing tree. Feathers of bark shredding naturally from the tree can be encouraged with a gentle pull in the opposite direction. This is some of the best natural kindling in my local environment at this time. Easily harvested, dry, and fine enough to take the smallest of sparks. This can then be kept in my pocket until I need it at the final stage. I found a clearing just past the birch trees and followed this flowing stream bed all the way down. There were signs of local deer and again plenty of deadfall to prepare my fire. It was nice to be back outdoors, surrounded by all the smells and sounds of winter. The forest hadn't changed much, but then it rarely ever does at this time of year. Some high winds from past storms had created a lot of accessible deadfall that I could collect and would be perfect dry kindling for today's fire. I took this opportunity of visiting a new location to admire my surroundings and again be thankful to be able to come out and enjoy my time in nature, the best healer I could ask for. As always, I started by scraping the leaf litter back to bare earth and collected a longer yet thin log which could aid my firelighting. It's even more important today that I collect dry wood and have plenty of it to ensure my fire is easily started, especially after all the rains that we had had consistently this winter. It doesn't take long and I have a familiar fire setup all laid out. Always continuing to add dry kindling to the relevant piles when stumbling across it on the forest floor. The timber here is a mixture of ash, beech, oak and birch, and the varying size fallen branches mean I have a steady supply within a short walk of my fire. Testing my blade on the log I had chosen to assist my one-handed fire, I realised that it was too large in diameter for my smaller Castron woodsman knife. It could easily be replaced, and needed to be, as this would be the vital part in suspending the blade of the knife over the nest of tinder, to then use a fire steel on, pulling upward to send the shower of sparks down onto the bark collected earlier. It was pretty hard not to be pleased with the outcome. After all, the preparation and perseverance with a slightly oxidised fire still had made a massive difference. But it was time to relax, by the now slowly building fire, as even the task up to here had been slightly tiring, and I kept reminding myself to still take things slow.
So there you have it, guys. That's the one-handed fire. The reason I really wanted to come up and film this was just to obviously take advantage of the fact that I have a broken shoulder and some damage to the ribs, and treat it as if I was in a survival situation. If I was out here or out in the wilderness and I'd fallen and slipped and I'd lost use of one of my arms, my right hand, you know, especially being my primary source of utilisation for skills, I am right-handed, how would I cope starting a fire with just my left hand? So as you've seen, I collected all the tinder, the preparation was in all of the kindling, having the wood right there so when the flame came I could put it straight on top. And of course, the other thing to remember is just to persevere. It worked quite well for me. The conditions were not too blustery but fairly windy, and I just persevered. So you saw I had to go down a size of timber just to fit my blade on there because it's quite small. But really the idea is you hold it with your other foot and then you use as many pulls as you need to get that spark. And you want a big nest underneath it of dry, good birch bark or something similar. King Alfred's cake, there's plenty around on this fallen ash. But I hope that helps you out, guys, in the future, and hopefully you won't ever have to use it in a survival situation. But if you ever do, at least you can be sure and count on yourself to get yourself out of that situation.
Seeing the kites sitting in the bare deciduous canopy was a beautiful sight, and their call filled the sky at various points, bringing back memories of other encounters and my time Harris hawk hunting last year. Being a skill that we could all easily end up needing to use one day, but likely one that we all forget to practice, I thought it would be a good, fun challenge to try and spread throughout the bushcraft world, or as much as it reaches. So I nominate Tom from Back Garden Bushcraft, Zed from Zed Outdoors, and Dustin from Bushcraft Tools to share with the world your one-handed fire. All you need to do is film yourself starting a one-handed fire and tag it the One-Handed Fire Challenge. You can also tag up to 3 other people to do the challenge, and hopefully this will inspire people to try out something new, as well as share techniques that they may have never seen. So good luck to everyone who tries this out, and yeah, I hope you learn something new, and really looking forward to seeing some of your fires.
So yeah, really happy I got that filmed for you guys. Obviously hope none of you ever have to use that in reality, but if you do, even if you're in a circumstance like mine where you've just broken a shoulder, I mean, I've got about 6 weeks left of recovery time until I can even start thinking about exercising. But you know, hopefully it will save your skin, or allow you to get a good brew on at least. So what I did opt for is birch bark straight off the tree, because I knew that would be nice and dry, feathery and fine, and it would take a spark really easily. And the other thing was to remember just to persevere and don't be frustrated if it doesn't happen straight away. I was using a Castron Woodsman, which is a smaller shanked blade, and that just meant that I had to reduce my timber a little bit in the size that was holding it. But no, just keep working at it, and obviously if you're not in a birch forest, look for other things, feather sticks, and maybe another video that I'll show you soon will be how to do a feather stick one-handed. So yeah, I'm just going to chill now and probably have a little bit of food, so maybe just do a little kind of B-roll section of that, and then I'm going to head out and spend the rest of the day probably getting this episode all edited out for you guys.
'Cooking in the woods is one of my favourite pastimes, and if there was anything I missed, it was something cooked on a fire, even something as simple as sausages. My small trivet and grill are a perfect accompaniment for this kind of quick cooking, and add next to no weight to my already light backpack. Five or 10 minutes over the flame, with a keen eye to turn and pierce when needed, doesn't seem like much in return for a good hot meal. With my jaw injuries, I still have to cut my food smaller, so it makes sense to bring some pre-buttered bread buns that I can easily handle, and it's good to prepare something nice for little trips like this. It's essential to always completely douse a fire and any partially burnt logs before ever thinking of leaving somewhere you have been. Mixing the ashes with water and slightly breaking up the ground helps to release trapped heat. As soon as I'm happy that it is cooled enough and is sufficiently wet, then I cover the area again with the leaf litter moved aside earlier, leaving it like it always was.
So just about to head off now, guys. Really enjoyed the sausage sandwiches. It's nice to just come out and ground myself with nature again. And yeah, just to practice some skills like one-handed fire starting. So if you enjoyed that, don't forget to drop a like below. And if you want to see anything similar, don't forget to drop a comment below either. And until next time, stay safe. See you soon.